Nongshim will opt for first pick here, and I think the looming Varus might be part of this. Yeah, I think Varus will probably be banned. KT opt for blue side, so we're going to have Nongshim picking R1 effectively here, which is what they expected when they did lock that one in. This is for potentially the group decider. If KT can reverse sweep here, they will secure themselves and Hanwha Life and Elder the win.
Yeah, and I'm actually a little bit confused about the first pick decision here for Nongshim, because I feel like as you get deeper into Fearless, those very strong standalone blind pickable champions just tend to be gone. That's kind of how it goes. We're going to see the Alistar banned away first here as Nongshim are going to do their very best to just not ban the OPs, right? But Rumble, Jace, Varus will be the bans, and so Nocturne, Aurora, and Leona will be the things that are likely going to be left up here in comparison to last time around.
There may be a trap where they try to trade Varus for Jace. They could try to do something like that. That is the safest approach, is to ban those three, but if you think you have an answer, you could leave it open. Instead, they will ban it. Gwen is gone, so, and with Varus banned, Sion feels very safe.
I think one of
they might be fishing for that as well.
Oh, Zoe going to be the last ban here. So it will be all of those picks that they banned away last time around left up, as Nocturne, Aurora, and Leona will all be available. The last ban will be Varus.
It's got to be.
I'm going to write that
one's
in.
Non-negotiable at this point if you're not going to trade. They're thinking about something else, or perhaps talking about what their responses to several different first picks would be. The Nocturne, thinking its standalone self isn't necessarily first pickable here. I don't think that's strong.
Bard, first pick Kai'Sa. Because she is
Aurora?
like... Okay, Aurora is going to be the decision.
Bard is a champion that we have talked so much about in this tournament, and of the 10 Fearless bans, he's not one of them. Could definitely implement that into your draft if you have the confidence to play it.
Yep. There's like Zeri angles and things like that as well.
Zeri also very strong. Smolder also very strong with all of these engage tools falling by the wayside. Deeper you go into series. Nocturne is going to be one of the best ways to get on top of a backline target.
Yep. Also, denying the Aurora-Nocturne combination, I think, is very important here as well.
Agree.
So Cuz going to be taking that one away. I wonder what they're going to pair it alongside.
The Aurora is also still a flex, and Kingen is very good at playing top lane Aurora.
Very true.
This is a very uncomfortable position for BDD, but he has shown already so much in this series that he doesn't care if his pick is blind or not. And he has at least an idea that this Aurora is on the Rift, and it might be his lane matchup. Syndra has been one of those go-tos into the Aurora, and it feels like a bit of a bait here to pull that one out by Nongshim Red Force.
Oh, this is actually really curious because we see the Gwen being banned on the side of Nongshim. I feel like KT have locked in the Sion as like a bit of a pick away. We know Kingen does really like to play it, but it seemed like they were getting themselves into a checkmate scenario where the Sion was going to work out. This time around, though, the Kai'Sa will be locked in.
But they need a range support for this, I think. Otherwise, blind Kai'Sa can be so difficult. And we've seen how these games have been shaped by bottom lane 2v2 matchups. The Trundle feels like too good of an opportunity to pass up with the Sion top lane. Sure, it's not great into the Nocturne, but it's not bad into the Nocturne. It's not like
it's fine.
He doesn't get a bunch of value out of his ultimate is really what I'm saying, but he gets ultimate value into the Sion every time. So what are we going to see here for one of our solo laners? I don't think you want to split the bottom 2v2 necessarily right now.
Well, Rakan is a whole lot of value, so I wouldn't mind locking that one in here for Ghost.
Ghost Rakan. We're rolling the sleeves up on this one.
I think, you know, the Xayah is going to be banned, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we're going to see. Obviously, going back to, like, even as far as 2017, Kai'Sa versus Xayah has been, like, one of the most common matchups. Obviously, Ezreal versus Kai'Sa is another one, but Kai'Sa and Xayah have been hand-in-hand for many years. So that one will be banned. What else is going to be taken away is going to be the big question. And what is BDD going to be playing?
Caitlyn's gone. Leona is the counter to Rakan in this setup here, so I think that makes a lot of sense. But would they be willing to ban something like a Ziggs? Like, Ziggs Rakan's not really a thing. What is going to be the AD carry that wants to try to win this lane with Misfortune? Because Xayah's banned, right? We're talking about the second AD carry ban here for Nongshim Red Force. Maybe they just don't ban an AD carry in that final spot at all, but
maybe it's just Zeri. Zeri Nocturne's actually kind of interesting.
And Sion, and then BDD plays any sort of scaling.
Yeah.
I guess that could be the game plan here, and just
what if they just
aiming.
Could you just zig Smolder with this?
I think you could, but it is very difficult to pilot. But you have enough defensive tools that maybe it works out. Smolder is so incredibly strong in drafts like this when you just can't get to him. Like the Aurora is going to struggle to do so, the Trundle's going to struggle to do so. And it's a fairly safe lane with the Rakan, if it's played in bottom lane, of course. With the Rakan here.
Taken away.
Zeri's gone, that's what you were alluding to earlier. Misfortune doesn't feel amazing here, but it has been...
into Pillar feels terrible.
Yeah, it has been a pick that goes into the Kai'Sa a lot. It's just something that Aiming has... I think about it when I think about Aiming's landing into Kai'Sa. That's the first pick that comes into my mind, even though the conditions aren't necessarily perfect for it here. It also means that there's not a lot of consistent damage. It's not the AD carry that has damage throughput through the roof, so BDD is going to have to play something that has a lot of scaling power here, you have to imagine. But he's waiting to see, just to make sure where this Aurora is going before he opts for his counter pick.
Well, Shen is something that Lehends has played alongside Kai'Sa many, many times. It's been a big favorite of theirs as Olaf into the Scion here for Kingen. All right, that is a gauntlet throw if ever I've seen one, and could be a very difficult time here for Perfect. As BDD thinking about getting out his signature Syndra here in game number 5.
I mean, but the Aurora can just, if she survives the lane, can do so much more, I think, than the Syndra in this draft, and the Olaf can just run at you. And there's just not enough consistent damage in this draft here for KT to make me feel like this worked out. I think you either had to go Syndra plus a more scaling AD carry, a safer one, especially into the Trundle, like a Zeri, which banned, of course, but anything else, even the Smolder, I would have liked more. The identity of this draft for KT is so tricky. Like, it's press Nocturne, ult, and then either try to ult a target that will just be properly Shen ulted, or just try to defend your Misfortune to make it difficult to outplay the ultimate with the Rakan setup here. Very, very wonky. This is a classic Olaf angle for someone like Zeus, right? We've seen Zeus countless times in late Fearless pull out.
Reminds me of Shiu as well.
Shiu occasionally will pull that one out. We have seen Kingen do it too, but that pick, I think, is really one that I go, wow, that's a clean Fearless draft. That was a smart move. Like, that's definitely a really solid angle here. Whereas the Misfortune and Syndra, I feel good about the mastery that both of these players have on it, the comfort that they have on these champions, but not necessarily about how well it works for their composition.
Well, let's just see how it does go. It's a beautiful Trundle angle here for Sponge. I think he might be the main character in this game for Nongshim if they can find it. But it's game 5. Anything could happen, and we'll just have to see whether it's Nongshim able to stop the reverse sweep or whether KT are going to be able to save Group Elder. And Sponge has already done the right thing. Traditional Trundle is by far the best choice. So, love to see it. Aiming and goes down here towards the bottom side. We've seen Rakan and the Misfortune together quite a few times. I think that, I mean, there are angles for the Misfortune to work out. I do think Pillar is so annoying to play into because she starts channeling her ult and then you just press Pillar. And it can get very, very annoying, as this is what Kingen is going to do all game.
Yeah, his damage numbers in the first few minutes of the game are going to be high. Also, Perfect is a bit too young to have played into a ton of Olaf, you have to imagine.
Yeah, I'd assume so.
So that's kind of a fun concept to think about here. So we do have another pause. Hopefully something simple. You win their matches. Their group will lose, and Bro will be eliminated.
Oh, well, we're back in, and Aiming has already has to use his flash, so that's not exactly the greatest. It's Perfect is standing on a wall. Oh, God. This doesn't look like a whole lot of fun. As Kingen did walk over and take a minion, and that gave Perfect an ability to wander back towards his turret. He's just not having a very good time.
No, he really is not, and he will continue to not.
Yeah, Kingen is just giving him a red card over and over again.
He will keep throwing those axes, and then he will pick them up and throw them again. As Aiming is not going to be throwing a whole lot back here. We'll get under his turret, at least.
That looked very weird. I just walked up to see both of the Nongshim bottom lane just hanging out underneath the turret. Sponge moving down towards the bottom side, Cuz moving the opposite direction of his bottom lane, so Aiming and Ghost not going to get bailed out anytime soon.
I'll watch the replay. Flash taunt.
Oh, right. So it was a flash invested by Lehends.
Yeah, they both now are flashless. but it ended up getting them a pretty significant tempo advantage here. Always great if you can get Kai'Sa any freebies in a matchup like this. The Shen pick makes it a little bit tougher to just say, I am Misfortune. Kai'Sa lose lane now.
Ooh, Kingen not having a great time here against Perfect. Is it flashable? It is not, because the flash was used by Kingen. Still, that is great news for the Scion, who was having a very rough time earlier on in the lane.
Yeah, might need a replay of some of that trading pattern.
Yeah.
And Kingen might have just taken a big Q or something like that. We came into him taking a few autos.
We've seen this before. Ghost is going to try and get himself out. The Grand Entrance does have the Gleaming Quill. That's a lot of value. As out goes the Misfortune, and Ghost is able to battle dance to him in order to taxi further away. It's still a disaster.
Xayah always takes me home with her.
True.
What happened there?
That would have been very cool if they had been actually playing the Lovers duo there towards the bottom side, but not to be the case, as BDD clearing out waves here and is just behind a couple of minions.
Looks like we are going to see a reset here for Taehyun and Lehens. Bit of a later one for Lehens, actually. Maybe not.
Let's see whether Aiming decides to walk towards the brush. Surely they wouldn't be waiting in there twice in a row.
Yeah, I'm watching the minimap with great interest, let's say. Trying to see what happens there. Nothing really does amount from it.
And this is crazy. Perfect has a flash and teleport advantage in this lane. I was never expecting that to happen.
Especially after he started the lane off by pressing shield and kind of ducking and covering. After the ward was spotting him in the alcove. Well, as I mentioned, BDD in this matchup, it's one of the matchups you feel really good about when you're playing into Aurora if you can hit everything. BDD so far is doing just that.
Oh, well, Lehens and Taehyun thought that they were playing aggressively, but now Cuz is going to make his way down. Lehens, remember, does not have flash, so he's very, very dead. Unfortunately, the Twilight Refuge is not a refuge this time, and First Blood goes over to Cuz one more time.
Twilight Refugee.
Yeah.
They did not have vision in the river. And also, I don't think you expect the pre-6 Nocturne gank to come in. But it did.
And also, it accelerates him. The ultimate hunter thing that Orcs loves to talk about. Oh, God.
We'll probably mention again that his first ultimate will have a reduced cooldown. And hopefully for Cuz's case, he's hoping that gets him a second stack to then further snowball his lead.
I don't think it will, actually. From what I'm seeing. But Nongshim are going to try to get back on the horse here. They still have a decent CS advantage, and it was only an assist going over to Aiming. And so therefore, it's not quite as much as BDD. Doing a fair bit of damage here to Scout, but does now hit level 6, and that's why Scout threw out the ultimate, understood that he had the level 6 advantage.
Kind of wonder now, we saw this Misfortune come through to try to, in part, and in large part, win the lane, but Lehens pulls his Shen outright, and despite the fact that we did see that kill back onto Lehens, so a significant CS advantage here early. They get first Dragon out of the prio. And as a result of this, what does this Misfortune do now in this draft as Ghost? What does he do when dead?
Yeah, well, he's going to see what he can do. Lehens is dead as well. So it's going to be supports traded. This time, Aiming picks himself up a kill, and it was unfortunately Lehens that got the kill on the bottom side. So Nongshim still a little bit worse for wear after that one.
And Perfect, because he had teleport advantage, could come down there and try to impact that play. Does pick up an assist and then head straight back to the top lane.
And also it's a BF sword purchase here for Aiming as well.
That's a pretty big
back
hit.
End of that. Not bad.
Sure. Definitely a huge trade up for KT Rolster because of where the kills went.
Still, the CS is kind of a disaster here on this bottom side of the map. Taehyun is eliminating more minions as this wave state is disastrous for KT.
Question still remains, how does this Misfortune team fight in this draft without, a Rel ultimate, let's just say. Like, the Rakan ultimate can certainly help set this up, but playing into the Trundle, you mentioned it several times, is very annoying. Can just be interrupted, and it's very difficult to get away from a Trundle. So we'll watch this one more time. Lehens and Taehyun flashless still, but Lehens goes in, gets the taunt. Burst damage is there from Taehyun, but in live.
Well, we're doing the same thing here in live, but it's Scout moving down towards the bottom side. There's a Paranoia onto the Aurora. Dustbringer hitting absolutely everyone, but KT realize they do not quite have the DPS. And everything burnt here by the KT bottom lane in order to make that happen. Taeyeon and Lehen still with flashes available. And so KT going to be on the back foot now.
Absolutely. That first dragon is going to be really strong here for this Olaf as well. The first mountain they pick up.
Ooh, is it another Cloud Soul? Earth, Wind, and Fire?
It could be, which would be pretty bonkers with all these really important ultimates that give a huge benefit to anyone who goes faster after pressing them.
Yeah.
Actually, kind of massive value here. Also could be insane if it's Hextexel.
Oh, true. There's
if
a lot
it's
of
Ocean,
big
I'm like,
Yeah. Not another Ocean. Surely it's not going to be 2 in a row. Well, we've never had those before.
It's Ocean's the new chem tech.
All of the time. As Ghost unfortunately tried to interrupt and tried to intercept, and didn't manage to. As Lehen's now with Stand United available, we'll be able to get around this map and help out his teammates. Could be an option to just dive on top of the Olaf, give him a big old shield, and then deliver a Shen for a little bit of extra CC. Sponge over here has started up these grubs.
Pretty difficult to contest without Paranoia.
Yep.
I just don't think they can. And with the prio that Scout has, you can just come over here and kind of bodyguard, make sure that there's no rotation over from BDD. Just simply no play to be had here for KT. Rolster should be all 3. Going over to the side of Nongshim.
Yep.
Lehen's also with his ult. It's like, you know, there's really nothing you can do.
Well, Scout of the Week just barely not landing on towards Scout there. CS advantage just slightly for BDD in the mid lane. Top side of the map is where the gold lead is for KT. Outside of that, it's Nongshim with advantages, but things all tied up as far as the global gold is concerned. Perfect, just waiting here. Hexplate done now for Cuz as he does go back to base. As Dark Sphere will be avoided there by Scout. Not that time, though.
The cooldown boot's going to give BDD the fastest route to stacking up, putting that pressure on.
Getting as many splinters as he can.
He did take Ghost, but because he's BDD, I'll allow it.
Yeah, well, I mean, you always take Ghost when you KT. Actually, no, you don't.
Well, actually, about half of the time.
Yeah, that's a good point.
If I'm honest with you, Alice.
Yeah. This series, though, it was, what, like 80% of the time?
80% of the time.
There you go.
In terms of mid laners, like, yeah, it might be 60% of the time they took Ghost this game. I actually don't remember. It's been 5 games. I'm not going to go back and check sums on that one, but
I know he took Ignite one time.
I think that the lane in the mid lane, or the 80 carries in the mid lane, will be where, speaking of having fun, I was going to say where we see Aiming starting to have
having more fun.
He's not really having the fun time, is he?
No.
Swifty's here for Perfect as he kind of just runs around.
And avoids getting slowed down too much by Undertows. I actually really like the Swifties buy.
He's just getting grassbacks to proc, and he is just kind of sucking the life out of King a little bit. Lehen's
wandering towards a Rakan, but Battle Dance is going to allow him to get out of there.
But I think Aiming is going to have the most fun when he is unleashed to play in the mid lane, gets his Bloodthirster, and can just kind of chunk the enemies down and push those waves and hope to help play around this Nocturne priority on objectives later on. This Dragon is not one of those objectives. Ghost, this is not the time to go in.
Nope. Well, he is just going to get himself out, not interrupted by the Pillar of Filth, as BDD, thinking about pressing an ultimate button, has a lot of orbs as Scout of the Week comes through, but it's just not enough damage.
And for those who did watch that Genji semifinals, was a Syndra game where he started off massively ahead but did not finish it off in the end against CDG. Was a lot of BDD fans' probably lowest point pre-Nongshim, which we won't talk about.
He did have an absolutely incredible Orianna game or two.
Cannot believe he wasn't in the World's music video the next year, but anyway. The Ghost is putting himself in harm's way, but he keeps just getting out that slippery Rakan.
Yeah, thankfully he's playing Rakan this time around, so isn't just going to be wandering around and then feeling a little bit silly. This time he's just going to get taunted. And there is a blast cone in. Battle Dance just kind of condemns Cuz here momentarily. He does have Paranoia. He presses the button, but unfortunately, he is just dead on transit.
Cuz is like, Ghost, man.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to blame you, however. Play safe. Play safe.
Yeah, if we could just, like, let's not have a conversation about responsibility right now, but it wasn't me.
So much like, you're like, yeah, luckily he is playing this champion. He's got his buttons, and he's not going to go back in. And then he does not have his buttons, and then promptly goes back towards the enemies.
Yeah, this is the problem. As it is a Cloud Soul. There we go. Third one today? Oh, man. Feels like my birthday.
Well, Whew, the double dragon start here is not good for KT fans. Or Hanwha fans, for that matter, at this point.
For KT, though, if you're a KT fan, it unlocks the Quadra Cloud Soul, which is very cool. So it will require them to get some dragons this game.
Yeah.
But it is on the table.
This team is in a position now to farm it out and eventually get aiming that BT, send him into the mid lane, waiting for that moment so that he can actually start to be a big threat. He's just now sending these waves into Scout, and we'll take that back and get that buy now. Just has enough money for it. Yep, to imagine. Ghost here, initially, you know, he was able to get out a follow-up double battle dance, but...
Yeah, then Cuz is just kind of left out to dry.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate here. Just decides to try to go in to get some damage on the Aurora. Doesn't matter. That's a tough one, you know, after such a bounce back, the Blitzcrank game, the Braum in game 4. But still early days in this game if the game time for game 4 is anything to go by.
Yeah, exactly.
Might be a lot more League of Legends to be played here in this one.
We're not even going to start counting out chickens.
No, we said at the beginning of the day, there will be no chickens to count, we just have no idea.
Yeah. And we do have a cull cashing in, so that is going to shave off a little bit as far as that gold advantage that Taeyun had. As you can see, it goes down to about 450. He's going to be now going back home. Next item, probably going to be some shoes, as he's running around barefoot for the moment.
Yeah, we got a little shoe icon now.
Yeah, it's a bit cute. So there it is, shoes complete. And same to be said for aiming as well. Grab some steel caps, as well as that bloodthirster that you were talking about. So back to lane. And 500 gold, the lead here for Nongshim.
The Herald is the next port of call for these two teams to fight over.
Oh dear.
Ghost is just baiting. He's just baiting.
Spidey senses working out quite well. As Cuz did see that there was a Trundle walking into the brush as well, so Ghost kind of knew that he needed to get out.
Early to fight for the Herald itself, but getting a lot of control vision is KT, as perfect as
he's
just
doing
going to
that
ignore
behind the
Olaf
turret thing again, as BDD tries to scatter them, flashes out of the way, as now the quickness comes forward, Flash to get on top of the hands, and I have a feeling he's dead. Yeah, Unleash Power does confirm that, as now Cuz, picking his target, decides it's Scout that they want to take down. The Scout of the Week is pretty good, but he gets out with the Between Worlds, is now perfect. Does not care about that turret, even a little bit.
No. That's the kind of angle Baus would definitely give a thumbs up to.
Oh yeah.
Doesn't hit the champion, doesn't matter. The turret.
Yeah. Undertow doesn't really connect.
Doesn't really care about it. And ends up being a third kill here for KT. Really big burst damage coming through the coordination here for KT. We're also looking really strong on that play.
Oh. Cuz was thinking about starting off a Rift Herald, but that's a little dangerous. Scout moves down and breaks some crystalline overgrowth. Does have some spare time with this turret for now.
Yeah, Perfect doesn't have ult, so it's going to take him a really long time to get down there. A lot of plate gold goes over to Scout as a result of that.
Yeah, BDD also makes his way back towards his top side. Doesn't have his flash though now, and a Syndra without flash is far less useful. It's Perfect clears out the wave. Nongshim realizing that they do not want to be starting off this Rift Herald at the moment. Things getting a little dangerous. It's game 5. There's a whole lot of pressure on.
Ghost.
Once again, looking for that face check.
Yeah, it's every time the observers pan over, I'm like...
Bit anxious, I agree with you. I'm also
in this case, we knew he was safe, but I still had a bit of a stress over that one after what has happened earlier. The game slows down again. It's funny, this Herald is up, but the other team has enough control to really start this off. Even though KT have control of the area, they didn't have Paranoia. Misfortune sitting on one item. They're like, I really want to start this, but it's such a huge risk. And now Nongshim take the vision back, but they don't want to start it yet either because they're running a Kaisa.
There's also a dragon coming up in under a minute. And we're going to check this out one more time. BDD immediately flashing out of the way.
And this time, the go in for Ghost is good. Shuts Lehens out, prevents him from getting out of there. And then the burst comes through. It's a kill going over. Scout able to use his ultimate to get away. Perfect, not going to connect his ultimate there, but they grab the plate as well. They will grab it now. Yep, on the return. And now, as you said, the dragon is spawning. Nongshim at Prio.
There's no teleport here for Perfect.
Yeah, he doesn't have it. And also, how does aiming team fight this without any setup? This is the question I've been trying to find the answer to this whole time with this MF pick. Like, how does this actually work? Let's find out.
Oh, they're going to try it. There's now BDD moving over. There is a train able to come on forward as Kingen could stand in front, and he is going to be able to do so. BDD over the wall. It's not going to be the steal, so there's Soul Point, but the Paranoia dives on in. There's the Fear Flash out from Taeyun to keep himself safe. As KT still looking very healthy in this fight, but Nongshim, they can just back away. Yeah, they do not need to do anything else. They got the Soul Point. They're feeling good.
They got their prize, absolutely. And they also got Perfect's ultimate. And this turret, actually pretty defendable as well.
Yeah, they
totally fine.
Just kind of die.
KT definitely wanted more out of that, but they just didn't have the reach. You know, they weren't able to contest for the smite. And then, you know, the Misfortune ultimate was in the right direction, but it's not able to do enough damage to threaten a kill. Speaking of threatening kills.
Yeah, Between Worlds comes on forward here as BDD just dodges everything. That's why you take the Ghost, baby. Just don't get hit.
I'm just not going to comment.
I'm not going to let my personal feelings get in the way. That was purely for you.
You're right. Yes, exactly. The Ghost was utilized correctly there.
He kind of wishes he still had it. It's all right. Everyone comes in. The Flash does come out of the way, but now Ghost comes on forward. Sponge is going to survive, and so does Lahens. Beautifully juggled, and down goes BDD.
If only he had TP on respawn. Actually, not going to be too important in this case. The Herald does go over to his teammate Cuz, and wouldn't have been able to TP to defend this turret anyways, although Ghost kind of wishes he was alive and had it. Aiming is going to come over now. This turret will survive, it looks like, just barely on its last legs. The pickup of the Herald should be able to guarantee mid-turret here for this composition that really wants that. As KT, they're going to need to set up for it first.
Well, this is a bit dangerous for Cuz.
Now, KT have to fight for every upcoming dragon. They cannot give even a single one. And this is where things get really tricky when you don't have prio. So that mid-Herald needs to be used to get the turret. They cannot fail this. They cannot mess this up. First turret goes over to Nongshim in the bottom lane. And the gold lead is starting to really explode here on top of the dragon advantage they have. So, I mean, you could try to hold the Herald a little bit longer, try to use it for something else. We go back to this play here. BDD doesn't have his Ghost. Lahens comes in, sets up the taunt. Not really much they could do here. Sponge narrowly escapes.
Yeah, beautifully played there by Sponge, making sure that he lives up to his name as well as possible. Uses his health bar beautifully. Aiming, now moving towards item number 2, slowly but surely. And KT are playing like they just kind of win the late game. And I just don't know whether that is necessarily the case. We know that Kai'Sa in the later stages of the game is going to be really dangerous. The ability to reposition, the Stand United shield, things like this are going to make her so tough to deal with.
Not to mention that even though this Sion has spent a lot of this game with a lead, it's not as big as it was, and also there's a Trundle. And so if the Misfortune gets caught or uses the ultimate but then can't reach people after that, she's a sitting duck for Taeyun to engage on, Scout to engage on, Pillar to get dropped on, Lahens to taunt on. And also then BDD is like, I only kind of have a few buttons, so I can't really offer consistent damage either. So I do think this composition, which is behind right now and against 3 dragons, really doesn't have legs in the late game unless Nongshim make a mistake, or perhaps Ghost finds some crazy ult angle to set up Aiming's ult. Like, that might be the only way they can get back in, it seems, at this stage. Or some sort of crazy flank from Perfect, a miracle.
All right, there's the Paranoia. They dive in, they look for the angle onto Taeyun, who gets a big old shield. They have so much CC, and finally the Sion gets in. Down goes the Kai'Sa, but the Misfortune's dead as well. Cuz is taken out. And even though Perfect has a huge health bar, they just do not care about it. BDD was so far away from the fight, he hasn't even been able to ult anything yet. And yeah, KT got their target, but they lost 3.
Yeah. KT's kill Taeyun strategy was very difficult in the previous game, but they were able to make it work, ultimately in the end to win it. I guess that's what KT stands for today. But in this one, they are, okay, mission accomplished, we killed Taeyun. But there's just not enough damage when Aiming dies. And watch what watch Aiming in this fight. Like, he's like, all right, they got it set up for me. Can't quite reach for autos, but I'll just ult him. Got him. And then an Olaf appears. Yeah. And now I'm dead.
He's like, I will get full value out of this bullet time. And then he takes 3 axes to the head.
BDD's like, I can't get to you. And even if I could, I just don't have, you know, I'm not playing Earth. Like, I can't actually hit that many times. If Aiming dies, the fight dies with him, even if they get the enemy AD carry, because there are just way more consistent damage threats on the side of Nongshim. Even Olaf being one of those.
I didn't like the Misfortune when it was picked up, and I continue to dislike it. Let's see whether Aiming can change my mind as this series goes on. Shadow Flame done here for BDD. Massive amounts of burst damage available for him. But Just don't know whether it's going to be enough. 2 items are also done here for Cuz. I mean, if there's ever a time to make something happen, it would be now. As
this is the timing where they get both the mid turret and get prio for Dragon with this Herald. I mean, they used it at the last possible second here to get the most value, but how do they utilize that prio is the question. Perfect trying to hold this entry here. They don't have a ton of damage for Dragon. Those are so tanky here in Season 26, or 16, whichever way you want to say it.
Moving up the river here, as Kingen going to join in as well. Scat of the week on to Lehens, but he doesn't really care about that one. Pillar goes down. Q not going to connect there from Perfect. Big health bar, though. You can see this Sion. If they can actually play around Sion in the front line, then KT can get some work done.
Trying to zone Lehens away. His ult comes up in 5 seconds here, and then he will be able to go wherever he wants.
Scout, big angle here for the flank. Has a blast cone to get himself into the back of the pit here at the same time.
Aiming, gotta be so careful.
Yeah. That is a nice double up there to get a bit of damage here onto Sponge. They look for a Paranoia. Flies in. That is going to be the steal away from Cuz. Can they find Moiva is the answer. As BDD is dead. Aiming's dead. Cuz taken down. And Ghost and Perfect, the last man standing. Perfect, though, he's going to get run down, turned into a zombie. And even Ghost is likely to die. There it is. It's an ace in trade for just 1 Cloud Dragon. As Nongshim, I think they should be able to take a Baron.
And all Elder Group fans collectively look at this game and just feel tragedy has occurred.
Oh, yeah.
They were so close to the reverse sweep. They were so close to bringing Hanwha out of this desperate situation. And a series that matters very little for Nongshim. They are fighting tooth and nail to win this 5th and final one. Watch this angle for Scout as he gets on top of both carries during the Paranoia here. And there's just no peel for this Aurora. Look at this. Gets on top of BDD and Aiming. The burst is real. BDD has to flash. Aiming is collapsed on then by the Shen. And then this Olaf. He just is like, all right, the more you hurt me, the better it is for me, baby. Like, we were watching the top side of that fight talking about the carries, while on the other side, Olaf, 1v4, absolutely yes.
Oh, it was disgusting.
Gets the Shen ult as well in the end. Like, Lehens didn't even need to use the Shen ult to kill the enemy AD carry.
Yep, and Taeyeon having a pretty good time. As I think as soon as BDD and Aiming went down, it was kind of over. But King, and also the fact that he survives, man, that is insult to injury. And that also means 7,000 gold, the advantage. Red Bull, Baron power play, putting 2K into the pockets of Nongshim already. And I did kind of feel like things were going better than I was expecting for KT. That is no longer the case. It is now looking very dire.
I mean, I don't want to overstate it, but the draft is a huge problem. And we talked about how in the early parts of the series, sometimes you don't want to put too much stock in draft because it's two viable compositions, right? One might have an edge, but they're both incredibly strong. KT's comp has so many holes, and they are being exploited so aggressively here by Nongshim, by Lehens, by Scout on the flank. And I think that was the last hurrah, the last chance. They got the Dragon, but they lost everything else.
Scout of the week doesn't connect on to Scout, but they do dive on top of him. He goes golden. He's buying so much time and goes between the worlds. There is the unleashed power, but it's not enough damage. And the killer instinct from Taeyeon gets him into the backline and blows them up. Nongshim are looking to cancel this reverse sweep. They spend a little bit more time here today, but it's looking like it is not quite enough here from KT.
Not enough, and it looks like Scout's perfect record against BDD will continue. Nongshim with a fire restart to the series. Bit of a hiccup near the midway point, but now poised to end it.
Well, here's the last hurrah. Oh my god. Aiming just gets obliterated. The Nexus turrets follow suit. And it took him a while, but Nongshim do it in the end. Taking down KT and keeping Group Baron alive.
If they get 2, they surpass KT.
And that total win time will actually come in now as well. It won't be calculated until after a victory for HLE, though, in that series against Gen G. So they have to do better than a 1-3 against Gen G as well. It has to be Silver Scrapes to guarantee it. And otherwise, they need to win extremely fast
I
against
heard
Gen G.
It has to be sub, was just from data someone pulled, from averaging the game time, sub 33 in that first win to beat KT that way. Otherwise, they could just win 2 games, right, as you say. Yep, but Nongshim really dispatching of KT in this one. This final draft just didn't hit, and then the support games for KT early on in the series really hindered them, because had they won either of those, which were otherwise good drafts outside of the support, we could have maybe seen KT pulling ahead and ending this one early, but instead, some comfort gets picked up, the MF into the Kai'Sa, they lose the lane, BDD plays his classic Syndra against Scout again in a 5th game and drops it, and it wasn't his fault, but the composition just didn't come together. Perfect had a great early game. There's just too many threats for that misfortune.
Yeah, just didn't quite work out. I think there are a few whoopsies when it came to drafting and things like that, but in game number 5, in series like this, where the pressure is so high, I think it comes down to who has the clearest head and is able to make things happen. As Taeyun, a well-deserved player of the match here in this best of 5, a huge turnaround from what we'd seen from him previously in the LCK Cup.